step at a time. You got to break the routine of allowing others to get into your head to control who you are and where you're going. You see, when you're about the positive, you're going to always have haters. But don't let your haters push you down. Let your haters push you forward to the next level. So when people show you who they really are, don't perceive them to be something else that they're not. See, a zebra does not change his stripes. So you got to keep pushing yourself to the next level. Yeah, there you go. Come on. Be a little deeper. Come on. Yeah. Go a little further. Go a little further. Don't stop. Come on. Don't stop. Come on. Yeah. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher. Be a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Don't stop. Come on. Come on. Come on. You got to understand that greatness is the nature that you were born out of. You'll never discover your greatness without hard work and dedication. Greatness says more about who you are and what you expect for yourself. And greatness will always attract greatness. Show me your friends and I'll show you the future. The future. You just a step away. You're just a step away. You're just a step away. Don't ever give up. Come on. You just a step away. You're almost there. Come on. You got to push yourself beyond your limitations. You see, there's no mountain too high, no valley too low. You can go where you want to go. It's all in the power of your imagination. If you can see the invisible, you can do the impossible. So stretch yourself. Take yourself to the next level. Come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. Don't stop. Come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Dad.
Hey.
I'll say happy birthday.
Hey, baby girl. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fair to middling, trying to get my live stream popping and stuff, a little technical difficulty, but we doing all right.
But I just wanted to call and say happy birthday, and I love you, old man.
All right, I love you too. Take care. Kiss my grandbabies for me.
I will. We'll call you later.
All right. That was that's my daughter. That's my oldest child, Whitney Alexandra Hall Swan Lee. I'm still gonna put she got her husband's last name now, but I'm still gonna put that Swan in there somewhere. That's what us daddies do. Tell a friend, tell somebody we're back live. Facebookers, share, like, do all that stuff. We're coming right back. I like what I see. Don't go nowhere.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, stolen from, and hit, but it just made me stronger, and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. Don't go down. I rose above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. All right now. The devil who said I wasn't good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love, I kicked his butt with divine power from above. Power that says I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me and brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love for me, he came to bring. Oh, yes, when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. She's looking good. That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman is me.
90.7 WTCC. Go Talbert. It's your birthday. It's my birthday, y'all. And so, hey, we're continuing the celebration.
that started yesterday at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ. It's actually not just my birthday, but it is my 29th pastoral anniversary celebration as well. That's happening this week. And some of my good preacher friends are going to be with me this week. The Reverend Mark Bayman will be kicking us off on Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock. And then I've got Reverend J.P. Morgan Jr., who's going to be with us. And then the Reverend Jesse Burgess will also be with us. So stop by. Check us out. 35 Alden Street, the Brick Church, right there at Six Corners. Want to give you some clips from yesterday during service. People don't have to be nice or say nice things about you or do any of that. That's just an extra bonus. But there's an old adage that whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. So I do want to play some of this for you. I know y'all are used to coming on and I'm dealing with various topics, whether it be something local, regional, or national. Not doing all that today. It's my birthday, y'all. So y'all just gonna have to endure the birthday thing. So I'm gonna let you hear some of the things that were said yesterday. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
All right, so for our tribute to you, Dad, we wrote 3 things that we were taught or what we learned from you, and one of those things is 3 things is remaining vigilant, always speaking your mind, and never being afraid to make mistakes, because you're a hard-working dude. I'm pretty sure you make mistakes all the time, but I'm pretty sure you learn from them, and you build yourself up. You know what I'm saying? And about never being afraid to speak your mind, I know you're never afraid to do that. I can tell by your radio show and the things you say to most people. And I can't really remember what vigilant means, but I know it's important. But but I know those things really apply to you, and I try to apply those things to myself personally, so I can try to have some type of image of you and myself. And that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, so like Micah said, I asked these little knuckleheads to just, talk about 3 things they feel like they learned from our dear father over here, and I would do the same. So, I'm gonna go on my little spiel. One of the first things I would say I learned from my pops is perseverance. And he started teaching me this at an early age. I remember him and a bunch of these older dudes used to do these open gym sessions back in the day at elementary schools after hours. They would run. They was much older than me, so and they would run these basketball games back and forth all night. And whenever they weren't on a certain side of the court, I'd go out there, try to get my little shots in, and when they run back, I go to the other side and all of that stuff. But I was the great rapper that I am today, before I was the awesome musician I am today. Like many other young black boys, I used to want to play basketball too. So I specifically remember one night in the gym, I'm like, I was used to shooting on the little kid hoop, and I'm like, I wanna shoot on the big hoop. And so my dad said, we're not gonna leave until you make a shot. And of course, you know, I missed probably about 100 shots, and you know, I'm getting frustrated. And my dad just kept reminding me, like, don't get frustrated, keep trying. If you keep getting mad, it's just gonna, you know, it's just gonna make it worse. And we didn't leave the gym until I finally made a shot. And you know, like I said, he started teaching me that perseverance thing at a young age. Another thing I would say I would learn from my pops is definitely dedication. Obviously, for just about every Sunday of my life, I witnessed this man preach. You know, like they said earlier, he literally became a pastor the year I was born. A fun fact about that is this is his 29th year pastoring. I'm turning 29 this year, and he was actually 29 when I was born. So it's kind of a full circle moment right there. But yeah, just you know, to literally witness that my whole life and to still be here, and he's still doing the same thing. And obviously, you know, church is not the only way he spreads his ministry and all of that. And you know, I've watched this man stay dedicated to all the things he does my whole life, and that's definitely truly inspiring. Third thing I would say is definitely big on family and legacy. You know, growing up in the Swan family, you know, we have no shortage of family. You know, as a kid, my dad made sure we went to all the family vacations and stuff, made sure we seen all our cousins and aunties and uncles and great aunties and great uncles and grandmother and grandfather and everything else in between. And you know, he definitely stressed the importance of spending quality time with your family and knowing your background and where you came from. You know, they definitely always instilled in me that I should ask my elders questions or whatnot. You know, you might even hear them say, like, you know, this generation don't even know what their grandmother or grandfather did for a living, and that's actually a true thing. So that's one thing I definitely want to pass on to my children is, you know, knowing their family and legacy. Obviously, you guys know I got a few brothers and sisters. And and as busy as my dad was, like, he never had a problem making time to spend individual time with each of us. And yeah, definitely. And he another thing that always stuck with me is he told me that children will always remember the time you spent with them over anything you get them, over the material things you get them. They're always going to remember the time you spent with them more. So as a father I'm almost a father of 3, and I just want to say, you know, I'm glad I had that example. I'm glad I had that example of what being a father means, and I just want to say I love you, Dad. Boogie actually sent me a voice message, so I'll play what Boogie had to say. Boogie couldn't make it today, but Boogie has some words too, so.
There's some major things that I learned just by observing how you carry yourself, present yourself, and navigate through life. You're fearless. You're not afraid to speak your mind, and this is a trait that not many people can say they have. You tell it like it is, unfiltered and raw, whether it's in the radio station, on the pulpit, or wherever it may be. You constantly expose the discrimination and social injustice our community has to deal with, while not being afraid to call out our own community for our shortcomings and flaws and how we can correct them. You tell people what they may not want to hear, but need to, regardless of if it makes them feel comfortable or not, and regardless of any backlash you may receive. Seeing this help develop the way I carry myself, have more confidence, and stand on top of my values. If somebody had to say it was a person, it'd be you. You also showed me what having tenacity as a man means in several ways. As a family man, for one, regardless of how busy you were, regardless of where you had to travel, you always made sure you made time for your family. Always made sure you were there for your kids' birthdays, present for holidays, present for basketball games, and just present in general to be a father. I've never once seen you complain or come up with the slightest excuse for why you couldn't be present for a significant family matter. I remember being bummed about having to take an extra year at UMass. You told me about your experience. 6 years undergrad and a father at the time. Didn't complain, just got it done. That attitude of seeing things through when faced with adversity is something I admire, still do admire, and have tried to apply to my life as well. And lastly, to not go on for too long, I admire your entrepreneurship. I think it's great how you've been able to create work for the congregation, and notably the youth through the church, whether it was summer camp, vaccine work, or office assistance, you were able to make something happen. But on top of all that, being your own boss is a flex in itself and a status I aspire to reach. So with that, happy early birthday, Dad. Happy pastoral anniversary, and I hope to celebrate many more to come. Love you.
That's my son, Lazine. Of course, you saw Talbert give his. Lazine sent his in recording. He was on campus at University of Massachusetts. He's a senior. He'll be graduating next month. Matter of fact, I've got 2 graduations to attend next month. My daughter, Nisi, you all know her as Erica. She's Nisi to me. She'll be getting her master's degree on May 7th. So proud of her. And my son, Lazine, will be getting his bachelor's in architecture from University of Massachusetts on the 28th of May. So big month for the family with 2 graduations happening. Also, a couple weeks back, my grandson Messiah was born. I've been meaning to post that. He was grandbaby number 13 and the 4th grandson. I've got 2 more on the way. My son Talbert is due to have another child. You heard him talk about almost a father of 3. That's because he's got 2 beautiful children and one that is due to get here in June. And then my son Tyler will be having another one, his second, in August. He and his wife Tracy in August. So before the year is over, I'll be a grandfather of 15. Wow. In 15 years. 15 grandchildren in 15 years, because my oldest grandchild, Tyler Marie, just turned 15 in March, and she was grandbaby number 1. And so it'll be 15 grandbabies in 15 years. Time flies. And as my son said, as I celebrate my 29th pastoral anniversary, I literally started pastoring when he was 9 days old. So he was just born. So this is his 29th year. He turns 29 this year. It's my 29th pastoral anniversary, and I was 29 at the time I started pastoring, and at the time he was born. So 29. So full circle, as he said, a full circle moment, in terms of as far as that is concerned. So I'm just full, just full with all that is going on. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, turn your radio down. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Yes. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask a couple of things. With this being an election year, what do you see as needed areas of focus for our next candidate? And I also wanted to hear your input on whether you believe resources are being purposefully redirected to other communities.
Well, I think first of all, and it depends on what office they're running for, because oftentimes people kind of mix up what the scope of work for a particular office, whether it's city council, school committee, state rep, et cetera, et cetera. In terms of our municipal elections, I think that we need folks who, even though we have a strong mayoral form of government here in Springfield, politicians do have a bully pulpit in which they can utilize their platform to speak out on issues. We yet have some issues with our police department. We yet have some issues with the equitable distribution of resources, CDBG funding, and other monies that come to our community. Much of that gets allocated into city departments as opposed to hitting the grassroots, hitting the streets and the community organizations to serve the people directly. So we need someone who is committed to speak on behalf of the people, and who is willing to take on difficult and controversial subject matter. One of the things we have talked about within the NAACP, and we have engaged some of our city councilors in that process, is the push for reparations. It's happening in cities and towns across the nation because the federal government obviously is not willing to take on the issue. So you have individual cities and towns that are saying, we'll deal with that issue ourselves. And so it's being talked about in Northampton, in East Hampton, in Boston, and various places around the Commonwealth and the nation. And we felt it's time for Springfield to deal with the issue. Many people think about Massachusetts as some metropolitan, progressive, liberal bastion that didn't deal with things like slavery, et cetera, et cetera. No, Massachusetts, people were enslaved in Massachusetts for 176 years. So, and then the racial discrimination continued beyond that, and people sometimes get the North and the South mixed up. But Malcolm said, stop talking about the South, because as long as you're south of the Canadian border, you're South. So I think we need people who are willing to take bold stances, speak out against the issues with police, equitable distribution of funding, and to challenge the status quo. So those are my thoughts on it.
Bishop, can I ask you one more question?
Absolutely.
It would occur to me that the current powers that be really see is a push to get our younger generation involved in the political scene in Springfield. I think that it would be a great idea, because as folks get ready to, go into their retirement and things of that nature, I believe that there should be some grooming being done for the younger set of folks that are going to take over these offices. How do you feel about that?
Well, and one, I agree completely. Two, there is some of that is going on. Is there enough of that? Absolutely not. I think it needs to take place. Appreciate your call. I think it needs to take place not just on the political scene, though it does need to take place there. It needs to take place in all areas of our life. It needs to take place in the church. Our nonprofit organizations need to be grooming people to take over. Businesses need to be grooming people to take over, as well as those in politics. There's a saying I always use, is there is no success without a successor. There is no success without a successor. And that every leader ought to be grooming someone to take their place. And they ought to be grooming them to be better at it than they are. So I'm in full agreement with what you're saying. Every parent ought to want their child to be more successful than they are. And every leader ought to want to mentor someone to be better at the job than they are. And instead of us bragging about being the only Black person here or there or wherever, we ought to be concentrating on how do we kick down the door to make sure that other black folks can come through. Let me get HB up in the Twitter space. HB, you got the microphone. 413-736-2781 for those of you who want to chime in.
Hey, good morning, Bishop.
Good morning.
Family. Preoccupied. I just wanted to come up here and wish you a happy birthday. I got familiar with you over the last year, and I'm impressed. I agree with a lot of things that you speak of, and I just wanted to wish you a great day and another successful year for you and your family. And just real quick, I just want to send a quick message out that at this point in 2023, we have to stop trying to be reasonable with people that's not willing to be reasonable with us. If we can't get anything passed, as far as we got to stop trying to look towards politics and politicians for everything, because it's people that don't have our best interest, whether they are Democrats or Republicans. As long as they are white, they still are working under the system of white supremacy, and we can't get anything done from that. We have to figure out another way. We have to stop relying on politicians all the time to solve our problems. And we have to unite and figure out a way to combat them, the whites, which is our real problem, which is our real enemy. We have to figure out how to take it to them directly. And I'm going to land on that. Happy birthday, Bishop.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. 413-736-2781 is the number here. If you're in the Twitter space, put your request in. About 13 minutes up before mid-morning jazz. Great black music will be popping off here in the studio. It's my birthday, y'all. I appreciate you all that are sending those birthday wishes. Also, a happy birthday to my birthday twins, Karen Hunter, Bishop Daryl Hines, Brother Godbolt. I got a bunch of birthday twins, April 24th birthday twins. So happy birthday to everybody who's got a birthday on today, and to all of the April babies. April babies rock, y'all. That's all there is to that. The April babies rock. So to every one of y'all that has a birthday, it's Taurus season in the place to be. All right, understand that it's our time. It's Taurus season up in here. So it's our special day. Let me see. I thought I had another clip I wanted to play. Let's see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. There were some others who gave some sentiment. And shout out to City Councilor Justin Hurst, who stopped by yesterday. He stopped by Spring of Hope at the kickoff for my anniversary celebration, and brought greetings and remarks and stayed and worshiped with us for the service. We appreciate his presence and his kind words. Let me see. My church mother, who's been with us and helped us raise our children and grandchildren, had some remarks. Let me see if I can get Mother James on deck.
Because we were looking, when we moved to Indian Orchard, we moved from New York to Indian Orchard, we were looking for a holiness church home, because my father was a holiness church. I mean a holiness church. Y'all haven't seen no holiness church. The people wearing their hair napping and everything, you know. But when I moved to Solid Rock, and I met you, Sister Swan, and the three kids, Shannon, 10, T-Man was 4, I think Bristol was 6. And almost immediately, you asked me to be the mother church mother? And I said, yes. I didn't know what I was saying. Probably. Never been a church mother, but always been a church worker in choirs, and usher and all that stuff, serving at the conventions and things. But I never had been a mother of the church, you know. So, but I thank God for you, and I thank God for Sister Swan and the kids, or even grandkids, but I'm still here. What about that? I'm still here. Thank you, Jesus. Yes, of all the mothers, two of them called me, and they said that, when you speak, I didn't know they weren't going to be here. Don't see me on they put me on the spot, but I thank God. I'm here to say, thank God, thank God, thank God. I don't know what else to say, but you've been a powerful man in my life. I don't know how many minutes y'all get somebody to talk, but sometimes I don't take no minutes. I just go ahead and say what I got to say. And I'm talking the truth, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't have been in the Holiness Church, because I didn't like the Holiness Church that I went in before you. The same building, solid rock. It was Charity, Church of God in Christ, with Pastor Scriven. And I didn't care too much for it, because you wasn't the preacher I was looking for. The praying, the preaching, the talking, the teaching. You did that. You explained what you meant. When you said something, you explained it, and I understood it. And I thank God for it. Thank you, Mother.
All right, that was my church mother, Mother James, who's been with us, oh my goodness, close to 30 years now, and literally helped my wife and I raise our children and grandchildren, and it has been such a blessing in our life. Let me bring Untouchable Jay up here. Jay, you got the microphone.
Yes, sir. Good brother. Good morning. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Start off with that. I just want to say thank you for, on behalf of the listeners who know what you offer, especially from a Christian standpoint, because, over the last 10 years or so, a lot of people in the body of Christ up against white supremacy. You do. And you still hold to the tenets of Jesus Christ, which I appreciate. I didn't actually know about the Stanley position and what he was all about until you posted. So yeah. I'm always thankful, because you're always bringing insight on both sides of the spectrum. And I just want to say thank you. Happy birthday. Keep doing what you're doing. God bless, brother.
All right. Appreciate you, my friend. 413-736-2781. Straight Chaser. Let me see. All right, Chaser, you got the microphone. 413-736-2781. Straight Chaser. Going once. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I wanted to know if I could speak on, I don't know if you heard about this, John Leguizamo.
Yeah, the guy who was talking about Latinos built the nation.
Exactly. First it was hip hop, now it's this.
Mm-hmm.
I just think we as Black people, I consider myself foundational Black American, but we need to stop with this alliance. There is no alliance. Every time I cringe, every time I hear somebody say Black and brown, because we're the one that's always claiming it. They're not claiming us.
Yeah,
and it just upsets me.
The unfortunate reality is this: there is a lot of anti-Blackness in so-called brown communities. Whether it's the Latin community, the Asian community, Indian community, the Native American community, all of these folks that they lump together to call brown. There's a lot of anti-Blackness in all of those communities, and until you root out anti-Blackness, there can be no Black-Brown coalition.
Exactly. And how do you propose that we enlighten our brothers and sisters to stop doing that?
Well, here's what I
on TV. Especially on TV.
Here's what I propose. I propose we do what every other community is doing, and that is they are standing up and looking out for their best interests. We are the only community that always includes everybody else. You don't hear anybody else talking about, you don't hear Asians saying Asian and black. You rarely hear the Latino community saying Latino and black. You don't hear the Indian community saying Indian and black. We're the only ones who say black and brown people of color, all that kind of stuff. We got to get to a point where we need to look out for black people, period.
Exactly. And we got to put the Africans up in there too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of anti-blackness among Africans.
Yeah,
most
definitely. Yeah. I'm going to post a video later today where there's this white woman. She's talking about the fact that, not only do we need to address racism with white people, but there needs to be an addressing of when white people are in places with people of color, like other people, the hate that they project because they see a white person there and think that they feel the same way they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, happy birthday again, and I'll land there.
All right, thank you, sis.
Thank you.
Let's get Amia Hampton in here. Good morning, Amia.
Happy birthday, Bishop.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll drop down. I was going to say happy birthday. Take care.
All right. God bless. 413-736-2781. Now, if any of y'all want to buy my breakfast, I go to breakfast after the radio show. Y'all want to buy my birthday breakfast, you're more than welcome to. The Cash App is Talbert Swan. So, I just want some fish and grits, some hot chocolate, whatever. If you feel that you're in a blessing mood, and you want to hook a brother up for his birthday, I appreciate you. All of you April babies, happy birthday to you. Let me see if I can get, there was another portion of this video I wanted to get one of the young ladies up. The brothers represented, and of course, I'll post some of this later. I really wanted to highlight my sons, but then the young ladies of the church were also represented, and I'm trying to see if I can find that. Oh, here it is. Let's see if we can get that, at least a little bit of that.
It says, Dear Bishop, the young women of hope are presenting these short letters and poems to you because all year long you have preached these sermons and built us up and encouraged us. So we are using this time to show and pour into you some encouragement. Sister Sheree, words came from the sermon, Living in a Promised Moment. You made a point during the sermon in which you said people complain about being the onlyest one. When I hear that, I think of the quote, there's no success without a successor. When I hear that, I think of how Moses raised up Joshua to be able to step into the role that God has set before him. Moses passed the baton and showed Joshua the way to start the journey to the promised moment. There's a poem by Maya Angelou titled, Just like Job. This poem reminds me of you because just like Job, your faith in the Lord will never fade, no matter how much the devil has or will test you. Bishop, my family wants to thank you for every moment you spend on the sermons you preach. You are a good example of study to show thyself approved. Joshua and Job understood the assignment, and Bishop, so do you. Sister Farah's word came from the sermon coming through the back door. Bishop, you touched on 3 points that fit very well with the trials and tribulations I have had the opportunity to watch you face and overcome. The first point was he came through the back door to avoid and assault the arrogance of power. When people try to put you in a corner, you always fight your way out of it. You stand for what you believe, even when people are giving the side eye because they do not agree with what you have to say. You always assault the arrogance of people that try to assert power they don't even have the responsibility to uphold. The second point you made was he came through the back door. He came through the back door because that's the only door that will welcome him. You show love and acceptance to all people. You are showing the love of Christ. It doesn't matter how dirty or clean a person is. You still welcome them with open arms. You give opportunities to people without judgment, without judging them for who they are and where they came from. For us as the youth, you have taken us in and never once set judgment upon us, but loved us through our various situations. The last point you made was he came by way of the back door because that's where the people who need him are. You have been placed in positions that have allowed you to help many people of different varieties, variations, and diversities. You have for years helped the young people, whether it was with jobs when we needed them, a mentor when we needed to express ourselves, or a sounding board just for us to vent. Continue to allow God to use you in any way possible. Sister Kara's words came from the sermon, a better day is coming to Buffalo. Bishop, here's a poem she wrote for you because during the sermon, she was inspired by a quote, God's best to you, Christ's blessings on you. She says, may God bless you for the little things you have done in thoughtful ways. May God bless you for the way you have brightened so many of our daily days. May God bless you for your charitable spirit and outreach. May God bless you for your servitude and willingness to teach. Thank you for all you have done, Bishop. Sister Shamela came from... All right. I can go on and on, but just some excerpts from yesterday. James Lewis is in the studio. He's coming up next with Mid-Morning Jazz and great black music and all of that good stuff. So if you're listening over WTCC, don't touch that dial. Stay tuned. Keep it locked right here. Once again, this week, we are in the 29th pastoral anniversary celebration at the Spring of Hope Church. So come on by 35 Alden Street, the Brick Church, right there at Six Corners, 7 p.m. each evening. Be there, all right? We're celebrating. Good preaching that's going on too. So until the next time I talk to you, which will be Friday on the Black Love Experience, 9 a.m. on Friday. Until the next time, always remember God loves you, and so do I.